The moment has arrived.
I pushed the button. It's going to work.
This is going to be scary good, man.
I'm sorry?
We're killing it. It's Maddie Levine with my good friend David Auken. Welcome to the Fight Banana Show.
The ruthless one, Elle Dawson.
Hey, guys.
Our girl, Gillian, the savage Robertson.
What's up? How you guys doing?
Welcome to the Fight Banana Show. 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, only on Fight Bananas.
Hey, Fight fans. What's happening? Dave Van Auken, how are you, my friend?
I'm not flexing, Maddie. I'm not going to do it.
Why? Because I called you out? It's either flexing or shadow boxing.
I'm not doing my hands. My hands are by my side right now. I don't know what to do with my hands.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah, let me see the t-shirt you're wearing.
Dude.
Fire. Look at that thing.
Go get it on millions.co. Just Fight Bananas on the millions.co. What up, Boston? Before we get any, we got Elle and Belcher coming on. We got Chase Sherman coming on. We have Gillian the Savage Robertson coming on. We have Elle Dawson coming on. It's a live show. You never know what might happen. But before we do anything, Maddie Levine, happy birthday to Grant Dawson.
Hell yeah. Happy birthday. Well, it's savage. I have no idea how old he is, but he looks damn good for whatever age it is.
He told me, so this is how the show is. We'll start the show as this. I was literally in Fort Lauderdale last week, Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday because we do the show on Tuesday. So I'm in Wednesday and I look it up because I just sent something to you and Elle, right? So I got Elle and Grant's address. They just kind of moved recently. And I look it up. I'm like, dude, I'm in South Florida. How close am I? And I have to go back on the highway to go back home. And they live 8 minutes off the highway. So I'm like, dude, Elle, Grant, I'm coming through. What's up? Let's get some coffee. So I see him. We go to Starbucks, get some coffee. Always great to see him. And he's sliding into his 30s. Grant Dawson, 30 years old.
30. Oh, yeah. I should give him some advice on the big 30. Maybe you should.
We're gonna see him. We're gonna see Grant Dawson next Saturday night at Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA Orlando. He's flying in. Elle Dawson's been here all week. I cannot wait. But so much to get into.
Oh my God. Seriously. We have so many great guests this afternoon. So thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, you're subscribing to all this stuff so you never miss a beat. UFC 298. Let's just dive right into it because there is just so much shit that we need to talk about. That was arguably the A+ card. I really enjoyed that card. Enjoyed that card. I think we all expected to enjoy it, but I think it seriously delivered. I do want to share a story about my experience.
Story time with Miss Maddie Levine. Give it to us, Maddie.
I'm gonna call them out. We went to Buffalo Wild Wings in Rhode Island and to watch.
They're the worst here in our town. They're the worst.
They're okay, but anyway, so we go to Buffalo Wild Wings. It's me and 6 other people. The whole place is there for the UFC fight card, right? This guy and what I'm assuming is his friend, middle-aged guys, sit down. This guy proceeds to untie his shoes, take them off, and put his feet on an empty chair. So he's lounging. He's lounging in the middle of Buffalo Wild Wings with no shoes on, right?
Socks?
At least socks. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't stop there, Dave. He goes into his pocket, pulls out his own soda. He brought his own soda to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I'm like, okay. I wish it stopped there. He then proceeds to pick his nose so aggressively. And not only that, try it, if you know what I'm saying.
Stop.
I wish I was kidding. So I'm trying to watch these fights. I am so distracted by this disgusting human. It was probably the grossest thing I've ever seen in a public setting. I'm clearly not over it. I don't think I'll ever be over it. And I just had to get that off my chest.
No, I'm so happy you did this because dude, what's up, Goose? Goose is going to be on Wednesday night doing Bed and Bananas with us. The Goose. Let's next, Ryan Gary? We'll do this debate in a sec. We're story time right now, yeah. Goose. We'll get into it. So, I know it sounds so corny. I have to watch these fights. We talk about it. I do, do this for a living. I want, I got to watch them. Uh-huh. So most of the pay-per-views we get at my casa, we feel good. We got the couch. We were chilling. You and Ross came over for a pay-per-view before. We love getting that at the house. But I don't know what it was. It was the January card. think we had something happening the day after the house. We didn't want to have 4 people over. I'm like, hey, let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Me and my 2 buddies, right? We're going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. 4 things. 1, they had a football game on going on, and I love football, but like they had it going on. We couldn't hear the commentary. I got to hear the commentary. I got to hear what's happening. Also, like so many people, and like I'm really bad with bad fans. Like I'm really bad. Like when people are like, oh, get up. They're trying to get up, right? Like I can't deal with that. Also, the service was bad. I looked at my 2 buddies. I go, guys, I tried it. I'm out here. I can't do this again. Like I got to be home. So I got it at the house. I had it as loud as I want. We hear everything. I'm lucky enough. I have a huge TV. The boys are happy. We're eating Cool Ranch Doritos. You know, life is good. I can't go anywhere. I can't do it.
It was so bad. Yeah.
So bad.
Buffalo Wild Wings, listen,
dude, we don't want them as a sponsor. I
was just going to say that. We don't need you. GTFO. GTFO. UFC 298. Let's get to the nitty gritty here. Top to bottom, so fun to watch. Some studs came to play. Some were a little shocking. I mean, where do we even start, Dave?
Was I on this show last week saying it is absolutely Ilia Toporia's time? Was I that guy shouting on top of the mountain said, it's time? It's a gut feeling. I don't know what to say. It was Toporia's time. Was my lock Bobby Knuckles? Was that my lock? Like, come on, guys. I'm just giving out free money. But in all seriousness, like the card, I agree with you, was amazing. The Robert Whittaker Costa fight was so great. I was really happy for Merab to kind of get that moment and have the Zuck moment. Ian Gary does what Ian Gary does. Mackenzie Dern, to me, stole the show even in a loss. She was the show stealer, Miss Mackenzie Dern. But then had to see Ilia Topuria I love watching greatness be great, and I have still so much love and respect for Volkanovski, and to see Topuria get that win, how he got it, I love it. It was immaculate. That card was worth every penny.
It really was. MMA fans around the world shed a tear seeing Volk get knocked out again.
True.
That's just how it is. But to not give Ilia his flowers would just be so silly. And it was so hard because Volk was clearly gaining momentum. He was putting his game plan together. He was stopping the right hand by those like power kicks. Like he was doing all the right things. But Ilia was just so fast, saw the opening, and fucking made it happen.
I had this conversation off air with Elle. Elle's coming in around 1:30, so we'll maybe have it back on air again. My like what we were getting into is even with Ilia losing the fight, and Goose, we'll answer your question. You're next. Even though Ilia was losing, I still like, to me, he talked about afterwards. He was like calculating, he was getting information, like he was doing all that. How funny is it? It mirrors Sugar Sean O'Malley, what he did. He lost the first round to Sterling, but he was just getting the proper shot. And these 2 guys, when you get the proper shot, Ilia and Sugar Sean, the fight's over. Like you put away fights. There's no more to happen.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that they're thank you. Hello. I think it's fair to say that some of these fighters, some of these top level fighters, the most dangerous ones are the ones that aren't afraid to go to those other rounds. Like, yes, it's amazing to get that big knockout in the first round, call it a day, go home. Excellent.
Yeah.
But the calculated ones, the ones that are like forming a game plan, the ones that are finding the patterns and being like, okay, I downloaded my data for round 1. Here's how I'm going to execute it in round 2. To me, that is like, chef's kiss. Like that's the shit I'm trying to see here.
For sure.
What I love. Okay, we'll go here. What's for Ian Gary next? Settle a debate. Who's the tougher stylistic match, Kobe or Sean Brady? Here's why it's Kobe. Who has Sean Brady fought?
Whoa. Okay. This is a great debate then, Goose. I'm going with Sean Brady. Guys, Colby Covington, it happens to everyone. We just saw it with Alexander Volkanovski. Colby's done, guys. Colby's done. Why can't we just, call a spade a spade? He is not it's not what he was in 2020. To me, this is the perfect time to fight Colby Covington. Sean Brady's going like this. I know he took the L to Bilal Muhammad, who that guy hasn't lost in 5 years regardless. So it's like, that is a great loss to have. To me, it's 100% Sean Brady. And Sean Brady, to me, is more of a mixed martial artist. He's an amazing grappler, amazing on his back, amazing going for submission attempts. leg kicks, jab. He can strike. To me, Colby is a wrestler with that kind of weak overhand left a little bit. I think Ian Gary would a harder style fight is Sean Brady. That's my 2 cents.
I guess I get fixated on the idea of reps, right? Like Colby Covington has had some serious reps against the most elite talent there is. Sean Brady, while his credit is going up and up and up and up, is he somebody that's going to test Ian Gary? I'm not really sure. Like Ian's biggest test was on Saturday night with Jeff Neal. It showed that he belongs in that top 10. This was his first taste at like high level talent. Like Ian Machado Gary is incredibly talented, and we all know it, but we were all saying, okay, can he actually hang with the best of them? Let's see how he does with Jeff Neal, who has literally fought the who's who in that division.
Right.
And he managed to get that dub, So Colby Covington's a guy, he might be waning and he might be not his best, but Colby is really good at making fights boring and getting it done. So I think if you're fighting somebody like Ian Gary, you're going to do whatever you can to make it as boring as possible. And I could see that frustrating somebody like Ian. So
okay. I like it.
I think either or. Either or. Both. I like both matchups though, Phil. That was a great idea for sure. And arguably Ian had the most stakes of any fighter that night. Like the most people rooting against him, the most people that just like didn't want him to win. And if he didn't win, his stake was about to go down so epically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Ian definitely needed that win, and I'm glad he got it. Let's see.
For sure. Alan Belcher's coming on in 3 minutes, guys. 5 minutes. Great question by Stashmouth. Colby's a vet of 5-round fights. Do you think it will be a 5 or 3 round main or common depending on pay-per-view? To me, it's a 3-round fight all day long. For one, I think Ian Gary knows he probably doesn't want to go 25 minutes with Colby Covington. It gets tougher. To me, Ian Gary's never been a fight night guy. He is a pay-per-view guy. His last 6 fights have been on pay-per-view. So I think it's a pay-per-view. I think it's a pay-per-view co-main event. Like I think it's you put Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn, and you put that as the co. Alex Pierre versus Ankalaev. This is the co. I think it's a co-main event of a good title fight.
Yeah. I'm not ready to give Ian the main event slot yet. I'm not ready to give him 5 rounds. I don't know. Like, if I don't know if the fans want it either, because it's like who are you rooting for in that fight, Ian or Colby? Like when the fans want both of them to lose, like who are you rooting for?
You say that, but I'm telling it would be high a lot. Like they're so good at what they do in the media game. It would be a highly anticipated fight. I think it would get more buzz than maybe we're giving credit for right now.
No, I'm not arguing that at all.
Okay.
I'm saying that Ian has a lot of work to do to get the fans back on his side, because a lot of people don't like him right now. A lot of people aren't vibing with him right now. Then you got Colby. People love to hate him.
Right.
So it's like,
I hear what you're saying, Maddie, and I agree with the Colby part. I almost disagree with the Ian part. It's okay to be polarizing. It's okay to maybe 30% of the MMA fans really like him, love him, Ireland, love that style, love the brass style, whatever. Then there's 70% of the fans, to be honest, that don't like him. But if they don't like him and it controls a feeling from us, it's something that we want to see Ian Gary get knocked out. That's big. That is good for him in his career going forward. So it's okay to be polarizing. I think that's actually, some people try to go too much one way or the other. And it's okay sometimes to be in the middle, to have take it or leave it. Some people love me, some people hate me. But I create a feeling, and not a lot of fighters do it. There's a lot of fighters that people, just be honest, kind of like don't care. They're just another fight on the card. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. I'm just glad he got the win. Mackenzie Dern's a dog.
So
absolute
good.
dog. So you know what's funny? I'm gonna be super honest with y'all. Everybody watching, y'all are my friends, and we're gonna be honest for a second. I'm straight as an arrow. Okay, I am straight as the day is long.
Okay.
I am as straight as a 2x4. she's fucking hot. I'm like getting distracted by this fight. I'm like looking at my husband like, what is he looking at? What is he looking at? Is he watching the fight or like, like that girl is like is not okay, And on that, we're gonna end on that, and we're going to go back to that because that's a hot topic that we need to continue.
That's literally a hot topic. Literally.
Put a bookmark in that. We'll get back to it.
You want me to do the intro for the one half of the main event for Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA Orlando? He's fighting for the inaugural Gamebred World Heavyweight Championship. He just won the last main event against Roy Nelson. Let's welcome in the talent, Alan Belcher. Al, what's up, brother?
Can you hear me?
You can.
Dude, loud and clear, my man. Looking good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Are you in Paradise?
South Florida?
I am in Deerfield Beach. Yeah, South Florida.
Yeah.
Down here for training camp. Been here for a couple of weeks, so yeah, we're in the thick of it right now, man.
Yes, sir.
Getting after
it's
it.
Around the corner.
Training very hard to go to battle with Junior Dos Santos.
Love it. Love it. My first quick question for you, Alan, is what was it when you got that phone call from Dean? Look, you training so hard. Look at you. From Dean or Jorge Masvidal when they said, hey, Alan, we're doing this as the main event. We're doing this in the Kia Center in Orlando, Florida, but we're also doing it for the World Heavyweight Championship. What was that kind of feeling? And was it an absolute let's go? Like, I'm ready. Let's get it.
Yeah. Well, since I went down and I watched Verdum and JDS fights in person.
Yep.
It was just the whole vibe that night. I was just like, I'm going to fight one of these guys. It's going to probably be JDS because just the skill set between those two. I was like, so I'm rooting for JDS. And I remember, I think we were even talking about that. And that's all. That's kind of been the plan is how that's been coming together in that 4-man tournament. So I had that feeling. I had that gut feeling when I watched them fight that night. Everyone was asking me, who you got? Who you got? I was like, well, I want JDS to win because I want to fight JDS for the belt, and this is just the vision that I have, and it's not me. It's just this is how everything is lined up, and I think that's what the fans want. That's how where his career is, where mine is, and that's just where we intersect, and that's just what it's always been. So from that moment, I was already starting to train, and already starting to prepare myself for JDS even before Roy Nelson. And I would probably say Roy Nelson was probably the first fight that I kept in mind that I got Roy than JDS. The entire camp, it was almost like,
wow,
I got to start looking further ahead. So I trained for Roy while I was also kind of getting ready for JDS. I knew it was coming. And then, so Dean called me and it was like, all right, it's going to be March 2nd. I was like, all right, that's quicker. I figured he would call me in about 3 months out or so, but I was like, well, my mind is already there, so let's get after it. So we turned up the training, and I've trained harder, harder and smarter than I ever have before. So that's a good combination, I think.
Yeah.
What about this fight has you so motivated? I mean, it seems like you are just so dialed in right now.
It's Junior Dos Santos. He's one of the best fighters of all time, multiple UFC vet. And it's just a really, I don't know. There's something magical about it. His boxing and my skill set, the way that it goes together. I feel like in his last performance, he showed that he's just as good now as ever before. He's still got his speed.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's a legacy. It's a legacy thing for me.
Legacy was the word that was coming to my mind. Cause I mean, you're a guy that's done a lot in your career. You've checked off a lot of boxes in your fight career. Is this one of those moments for you where it's kind of like a bucket list moment? Are you viewing it in that sense?
I don't know. I wouldn't say if it's a bucket list. I mean, this is a new organization with a new a new
That's
bare
fair.
knuckle MMA belt, so it's more of a making history type of thing. So I mean, if making history is always on my bucket list.
Well, there you
So,
go.
yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity for me to put my stamp on history once again and just take it to the next level. So it's all lined up. You guys saw me come back, and I hadn't fought for years, and my opponents had just increasingly, gotten better. Uh, I knocked out a couple easy opponents. I knocked out a couple tough opponents, and I knocked out some vets, and then now it's like, all right, let's win another world championship here.
So, Alan, like, I remember talking to you right out of Biloxi, Mississippi, literally in the cage. You defeat Roy Nelson via split decision, really close fight. And you've been on this comeback now for 3, 4, 5 years. A lot of boxing, of course, bare knuckle boxing. You literally won a world championship. And then you're like, you kind of said, like, Dave, I wasn't like ready for the grapple almost. So it just kind of hit me out of nowhere. Like, I just didn't maybe train as much as grapple as maybe as I should. Has this camp, of course, Junior Dos Santos is known for boxing. Have you put more time in this camp on the grappling side? Because this is MMA. This is literally the UFC right. Just without gloves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's a mistake that, luckily it didn't lose me the fight. But right. I just had some neck issues and stuff that was kind of keeping me from grappling. So I've got all that worked out. My grappling is... I mean, I feel like it's coming back for sure, but the way that I fight and the way that I kind of adapt to things is, when you go into a fight, you don't have every single skill set dialed in exactly perfect the way that you would dream it. You're not going to have every single joint in your body healthy or whatever. There's going to be some little things or whatever. So I like to think of the idea of just the way that you master this craft is to be able to adapt and to kind of go with, make the most out of what you got, So I feel like all my skill set, my kicks are coming back even more. I used a little bit against Roy, not much, but sure. I have more kicks. I have more grappling. I have more of gas tank, and I got a lot of tricks up my sleeve and a lot of things. I feel like they're trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I feel like they're gonna make a lot of mistakes in guessing what I'm gonna do. They're gonna make mistakes in guessing how they can beat me, because what you saw in my last couple of fights, any holes there, they're probably not there anymore. And I'm using a whole different style now. I've just, I have more styles than JDS. JDS is kind of, it is what he gets. He's really good at what he does. Sure. But I can fight a lot of different ways. So I feel like that's probably one of my biggest advantages going into this fight.
I love that. One more, and then Maddie, if you want to jump on it. I would love your take on this co-main event, Alan. I know your eyes are going to be on it. I know I see you through the Gamebred socials that you've been training with Chase Sherman. I know you guys are boys for a long time. He's in the co-main event, gets Alex the Spartan Nicholson. Some birdies are saying maybe the winner of this fights the winner of this. You never know. Maybe there's another big show in Biloxi, I'm hearing, in the spring or the summer. But have you looked forward to this fight? How much are you pumped for Chase's side? Just give me your take on the co-main event.
Okay. Well, there's some history there. I was in Chase's corner about 10 plus years ago, probably, when he fought Alec Nicholson. And Alec Nicholson was a really small heavyweight, and Chase was a big giant vanilla gorilla. And, and it was like Chase kind of knocked him down, or he came and he was on top of him, and I was in the corner, and I'm like, man, like, you got to stay on top of him. I'm like, he can't get up. Just stay on top of him. And he stood up, and he was like, get up. And then Alex got him with like some kind of a spinning back fist or something, and ended up finishing the fight. And Alex has been, he's had his struggles in fighting, his struggles in life, and he's just been kind of fighting his way back. And Chase has kind of done the same thing, fighting his way through the UFC. Now he's found something here. So it's a very interesting very interesting matchup. There's a lot of history there. It's going to be very intense. The intensity of the co-main event and the main event is what people should be really, really excited about. You know, so there's a lot of, I wouldn't say bad blood there, but there's a lot of line. There's a lot on the line for all four of us, really. You know, so I'm excited about it.
Cool.
Chase, if Chase wins, there's no. I will never fight Chase Sherman ever.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, that's my homeboy, and I'm not even going to lead on the public and make like that's a thing. There's so many paths. There's so many things. You know, who knows who the next person that offers me $1 million to fight is going to be. So, you know, I'm just, you know, ready for anything. I don't have to fight my friend and my brother and my student, and, you know, Chase Sherman. We go way back. I've known him since he was 16 years old. So, other, you know, Nicholson, I don't know. You know, I think if it makes sense for the fans, there's enough fans, it makes sense for me. I feel like that's not that exciting of a fight for whatever reason, but you know, things could change. Things could change, and you never know where it goes. So I'm excited for the whole show, man. We're training so hard down here.
So good.
We're going to war.
Oh, I'm fired up. Dave, how fired up are you right now? I feel like I could walk through a wall right now. Like, let's fucking go. I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that. In Orlando at the Kia Center, Al, like,
that's
man,
what I'm saying.
For me, this is like my home. You know what I mean? This is my home court. That arena is beautiful. I'm going to save this line for when we're live on air, but I'll give it to you a little bit now. Like, I've literally seen Khabib Nurmagomedov fight in the Kia Center. I've seen Kobe Bryant play basketball. I've seen The Rock perform there. These are the biggest stars in the, you know, sports entertainment zone. And now Alan Belcher and Junior Dos Santos is headlining. I can't wait. Like, I can't wait.
Awesome. Alan, before we let you go, you know, everybody has a story. Everybody gets motivated by a certain something to get out of bed and just kill the day. When you think of what motivates you the most to just be the perfect Alan Belcher, what motivates you the most?
Oh man, this is such a deep question, but I mean, probably the easiest way to answer that is you only got one life to live, you know, and there's a meaning and there's a purpose of life, and this is just my purpose, you know, for being here. And I'm leading my family, and I'm leading people that look up to me, and I just feel led to do this, you know. So camp is really, like, right now, like, we're training really hard. So it's we had a hell of a sparring session today. We did a lot of rounds, you know, so, you know, it's really just about feeling what you're supposed to do, you know, and not going the easy way. And I feel like that we all, you know, every one of us are faced with that every single day, where we're kind of led by what's easy.
Oh, he was giving us gold, Dave. He was giving us gold. Oh.
And here comes Alan, the talent Belcher. Elle, you just missed it, dude. We just, I think his phone, it's so funny this happened to me and Elle, like maybe in the sun, my phone turns off. He was just live.
Oh,
he's
it probably overheated.
Giving us his soul in this question, and the phone just died.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh, well,
dude,
I
Alan's
mean,
the man, dude. Alan's
shout out to Alan. That was
Shout
such an
out.
inspirational moment for a hot second. Like,
I was crying back here. I was starting to tear up.
Dude, I mean, yeah, that shit was deep, and it's really cool to see such a badass fighter get really real for a second.
Yeah.
So
wow,
probably one of the highlights of this this podcast so far. That was really cool. Goddamn Mother Nature burning his phone.
The sun. I'm so mad at the sun right now.
I'm so mad at the sun. God damn it.
Dude. Elle Dawson,
Anyway,
happy birthday to your amazing
happy
husband, Grant.
birthday
Dude,
to
happy
you.
birthday.
Is he there?
Well, I would say thank you, but he's over there somewhere.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
Everybody
Grant.
says happy birthday, babe.
He's
Okay.
old now. He's
I know,
old.
he's getting up there.
He woke up this morning. He's like,
Oh God.
it's
Does he have
30.
any grays in the side? Does he have any grays? All right.
It's
Dude,
all right.
the
Well,
show's
welcome
been
to the
amazing
show,
so far. We talked a lot about UFC 298. I know, Elle, you got a ton of hot takes on it.
Yeah, we we didn't even get through a quarter of it. Like
I know we were on Ian Gary for 15 minutes. Like
Let's chat.
So and insert air horn. Happy birthday, good one. If Alan comes on, we got Chase Sherman coming on in 15 minutes. We got Gillian the Savage Robertson coming on in 45 minutes. I like her new tagline. Starts 1:00 p.m. Savage 1 p.m. Fight Bananas time, 2 p.m. Savage time. I like that, G. I like it. But
I like that.
All right, Ilia Topuria gets a second round knockout of maybe the greatest featherweight in the history of mixed martial arts, Alexander Volkanovski. He's the man. He's undefeated. We kind of hit about it a little bit. I would love your first take on what you saw with Ilia, what you think of him now and going forward with the champ.
Yeah, it's we were chatting about this the other day, but I kind of had a realization that the age of the wrestler is starting to decline. I went through every champ that we have right now, and this is the first time in a long time where we've had more strikers hold UFC belts than wrestlers. And that's sad for me. But no, it's crazy to see guys like Sean O'Malley and Ilia Topuria, where I don't want to say they're not better than the people they've beaten, because obviously they are, because they won, but they have the ability to lose a couple rounds and still always win the fight and always find that they only have to land that one shot. And I got roasted in somebody's comment section for this, because I said, hey, man, that was crazy. I thought Volkanovski was really gaining some momentum, and he totally was. He looked great.
He was winning. Yeah.
People, a bunch of people liked my comment, but a bunch of people just trashed me. Were like, "What fight were you watching?" I was like, "The one where Volkanovski was gaining." I don't know.
Social media is a fucking garbage can. It truly is. But yeah, Elle, we were kind of touching upon that before you joined in. My favorite thing about the fight game is that elite level of fighter that isn't afraid to use that first round to gain data and then apply it in the second round. And I think it's very easy to see that with the strikers. And I can't really speak to the grapplers. I've always been the striker myself, but I'm sure grapplers and wrestlers and jiu-jitsu artists, they do that as well. But when you can see the wheels turning of a striker, it's fascinating to me. Ilia was able to collect enough data to apply it into the second round. He knew that Volk was attacking the cross with that power kick. He knew that it was going to keep happening, and he just figured that shit is next level, and it's so much fun.
The adjustments. And I will say this too. I don't think most grapplers can fight that way because it's so much I don't want to say easier, but it's definitely more difficult to be losing the whole fight and catch somebody in a sub.
Yeah.
But if you have a grinding wrestling style, you want that momentum, like a Marab. The second Marab Vashvali gets momentum, he's like a steamroller. He's a steamroller. He's probably not going to finish a ton of guys, so he can't give away that second round in a 3-round fight. But 5 rounds is totally different. If you're a guy who can put somebody's lights out at any moment, you can chew up a couple rounds just making reads and maybe even losing a close round. It was a super close fight. I'm not saying that Volkanovski was dominating by any means.
No, but he was doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He was throwing more volume. Like you said, he was using that lead kick to shut down the cross. It looked really nice. So it's I don't think grapplers can necessarily fight like that, or they shouldn't fight like that. They should be trying to put the pressure on early and win as many moments in that fight as they possibly can, while these guys with just unreal power, they can afford to lose more of the round.
Maddie, you and I have been doing this stuff so much. Like, you're literally stealing my hand signals. That's my.
Damn it! I'm sorry.
You did. I'm like, all right, Maddie, that's mine. All right. There's two really hot takey things with funny analogies I think I have on it, or one hot take and a big analogy. Two different things. You guys pick. You want me to do a Taporia thing or a UFC 300 thing, and then you guys can rip me apart or be like, Dave, that was the greatest thing I've ever heard. What do you guys
do
want?
both. Go Taporia.
Well, we might as well stay on the Taporia thing for now.
Okay.
So let's hear that.
Okay. So, yeah, we got Chase hopefully coming on in 10, so I don't want to go too long on it. Here's my Ilya Taporia. After the fight, Sugar Sean O'Malley was like all about it and calling him out, like, dude, like how
Exactly
it
what I
excites
wanted.
him in this fight. And like so many people right away were like, whoa. For one, Sugar Sean's got to fight Cheeto Vera coming up in 3 weeks. And then that division has got so many contenders, Sanhagen, Merab, so many else. And then Ilya, who just won the championship, you know, Volkanovski, out of all the people that deserves a immediate rematch, could be Volk. Of course, there's undefeated guys. There's finally Max Holloway can fight for the championship and then not be Volk in the future. So there's so many contenders for that. And where I want to go with it is like us and me personally, like I am a Merab type. I love when people ask like, oh, Dave, like, how did you get to doing stuff for like Gamebred FC or, you know, press conferences or big podcasts? I'm like, dude, I'm not a fighter. Like, I never fought a day in my life. I didn't go to Syracuse to work on broadcasting or journalists. Like, I just love it. I think I can talk pretty decently, and I just work hard and I'm passionate and I just never stop. And so I love when people like Merab or even Bilal Muhammad, guys who work their tail off, get that shot. I love that. Like, that's who I think I am in my core, right? But with all that being said, if the UFC ever to like go in left field and just fucking go for it, this is the time right now. Like Sugar Sean O'Malley, Ilya Taporia, I can argue they are the number 1 and 2, you know, young, you know, champions.
Rising
This is
stars,
like what Conor McGregor was 10 years ago. Like, these two guys are it. If you put those guys against each other and for a time that Sugar Sean can fight for a double title, whoever wins that fight becomes a megastar, like absolute megastar. And God forbid if those guys go 5 rounds. Imagine if they had what Conor McGregor did with Nate Diaz. Like, Nate Diaz was always big. He was always big. But that fight with Conor, the win, and then the 5-round war, like put Nate Diaz in another stratosphere. I even think the same thing with Conor. Conor was always big. He was always the biggest name. Those 2 fights back to back, like, elevated Conor. And I think this fight, I think the UFC should be like, guys, I know there's a line, and I know there's so many things that make sense for Sean to fight Merab and Ilya to fight Mosar. I get it. But if you want to create a freaking megastar, or maybe even 2, you put those boys with each other. That's my thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the right thing to do from like a moral perspective and the fact that he's earned it is to give Volk the immediate rematch. That's the right thing to do.
Oh, interesting.
The cool thing to do is exactly what you just said, because if Volkanovski gets an immediate title shot or immediate rematch and wins, we're right back to where we were before, where, you know, maybe he'll fight Ilya a couple of times and that'll be fun for a little bit. But if Volkanovski makes the adjustments, comes back and stays champ, then we're like, okay, we know how all these guys do against Volk. We don't know how all these guys do against Taporia. So I think that, you know, matching up a guy like we did our matchmaking Monday. I think matching up a guy like Movsar with Volkanovski right now is the way to go. And then, if Movsar wins, now you have a fresh contender, which you've been needing for that division anyway. And you have Taporia and Movsar for a title shot, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And if Sean goes up and knocks out Ilya Taporia, like you said, you have an absolute superstar from Sean O'Malley. And there's also the chance that while I do think Sean O'Malley will beat Cheeto, I don't necessarily think he's going to beat Merab. So if you want Sean O'Malley to have as much star power for as long as possible, you have him. If he beats Cheeto, you immediately make that super fight happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like all of it. Couple things though. As a fan, I don't want Volk to have the immediate rematch. I think he needs a hot second to reevaluate, collect himself. He worries me because, you know, everything leading up to this fight it was very much like, I am my best self when I am in a fight camp. I need to be in a fight camp. I need to be, like mentally prepared and all this stuff. And for me, it makes me worry about the Volk after his fighting. Like, where is he mentally? Can we do like a wellness check on this man right now? Because that's the type of shit that is scary. It's like, okay, we need to like worry about our fighters and like where they're coming from mentally. Like, for a guy to feel like he needs to be in a fight camp, that's a little scary. So, I would like him to take a minute, take a beat, get back to training, get back to loving it again, and then we'll talk about a potential rematch. I do like the idea of of Topuria and O'Malley fighting. A piece of me wants them to build Topuria a little more and kind of showcase him on his own first, because this stardom moment, this incredible moment that he had on Saturday, he won a lot of people over, absolutely. But let's create a character for him. Let's create a storyline for him. Let's let people gravitate towards who he is instead of hitching him to the O'Malley train. It's like,
the issue though is if you lose him as the champ, you've lost your opportunity to do that ever.
Yeah.
If he loses, let's say Max is the next title shot. If he loses to Max, I think the best opportunity for Sean O'Malley to be a double champ is probably a guy like Ilia Topuria.
Like right now, yeah.
Where he can still utilize his length, which is his greatest asset, at a higher weight class. I'm not saying that wouldn't be the best thing for Ilia Topuria necessarily, but for the UFC as a whole, and if they want that like megastar, like we're at a kind of a dry period for megastars. Think about how hard they've been trying to find a main event that makes us all like keel over, like
right.
200 did.
Right.
And they're failing because the only two names that can really do that now are Conor McGregor and John Jones. And they're both like, nah.
They're whatevers.
They don't have anybody. They need somebody like that. And
Yeah.
if they want that to be Sugar Sean, this is the way to do it.
Yeah. Dave, for the first time ever, we agree with you.
Yes!
Let this go down in history. While we wait for Chase Sherman to arrive, I think really quick, we just need to rewind to the presser. Old man Volk, guys. That was the funniest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, keep going. I'm sorry. Because I have a hot take on that too. It's not my second hot take, but I do have something on that. But I want you to keep going.
No, I mean, that's really all I got. That was the funniest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. And what I was going to say was, I think we are in the WWE era of the UFC. We are we understand that, they're in the same bed together now. The UFC, what is it, owns the WWE? They own the WWE.
TKO, the group, owns UFC and WWE.
Okay. We are now seeing them mesh together. I'm here for it. I am here for the theatrics. I am here for the storylines. We're seeing the crossovers. They had 2 WWE stars in the crowd on Saturday. They had who was it? I think there was in a comment here. One of our guys was at a WWE fight card. Like we're seeing the mesh happen, right? I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I'm kind of here for it. I'm here for the characters because, like, now you got like the WWE theatrics, but real fighters. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Michael Chandler kind of like let it off, like cutting a promo.
That's the name I was looking for. Yeah,
and that was fun. Like, it was fun. I don't even really have mixed feelings about it. I think some fighters will lean into that really well, and I think some fighters shouldn't. Like, I don't want it to take over the UFC by any means, but I am super excited for some UFC fighters to have opportunities to make bank in WrestleMania and Raw events because they deserve that, like that would be so cool. And I think that would give WWE another resurgence as well, which they honestly have kept like a huge cult following over the years. Dude, like I feel like WWE fans are like some of the most loyal fans.
It's wild. It's like that world. I don't know much about that world, but from what I've seen, they are loyal. They are very loyal. So what's your hot take, Dave?
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. We're dealing with a lot of this side here. Wow, this is fun. We'll tell you both off air.
Focus, go.
Okay. Chase is trying to get on here in a second. Great stuff's happening right now with Fight Bananas Land. All right, so this isn't even. I got so many hot takes. All right.
Your ADHD brain is the bane of my existence.
Alexander Volkanovski. You said you loved when he came up with Old Man Volk. Okay.
Correct.
It was funny. Has Alexander Volkanovski ever came to a press conference funny, doing a shtick? Has he ever done this in his prior 9 title defenses?
No.
I don't fucking like it. Like, this isn't a game. Like, this is a fight Saturday. You are fighting Ilia Topuria, who's a fucking killer. This man is a straight slaughterer, striking king. I didn't like him going, like, walking up, like, Elle, you can tell this, Maddie. You've had face-offs. There is a moment of like, hey, I'm trying to win the face-off. I'm trying to look in your soul. I'm trying to do that, and he's like going up, like doing the Old Man Volk. I did not like it. I'm like, Volk, like, snap out of it. Get out of a shtick. You are about to fight a killer. Grow up. Like, let's go. I want to shake him.
Let me say something. Let me say it. I'm glad you pointed out the face-off, because yes, he was in a shtick, but if you go back and watch it, you will see the switch. You will see it, and it's the coolest thing. And a lot of fighters do this. A lot of fun fighters who have like their stupid little, like, let me do a dance, let me do whatever. There's a moment with every face-off where that goes away and a switch turns. And they're like, all right, we're fucking in this. And you can see it in Volk's face. He's doing, he's doing his theatrics. He's doing the stupid old man thing. And then he looks at Topuria and it's like shark eyes. And I was like, I fucking love that shit. Like, it is so awesome. So I get your point. It's not really his thing. He doesn't really do that a lot. But
the whole press conference, like, and also with this too, like, the shtick is him being old and kind of done. Like, that was the shtick. You kind of like,
check this stat.
I
got fighters who dress up as characters are 0-2.
I'm telling you, like, there's a thing, like, there's a third, like, Maddie, both of you guys have been with me during fight nights or the fight week. Dude, I am the most funniest, go lucky dude. Let's go get waters and drinks all time, anytime. On fight day, like, it's weird. Like, people, like, I'm kind of a dick. Like, I'm kind of tunnel vision. Like, I'm working on what I need to do, and I'm only talking into a microphone. These guys are fighting. Like, there's got to be a time. Like, I don't want any more jokes. Like, someone in Volkanovski's team's like, hey, brother, like, I get what you're doing here, but, like, I don't need you being Old Man Volk on press conference day. Like, I need you to be ready to fight this killer. Ilia Topuria is about to take everything from you. Everything. And, like, I just never felt that. Never, even
too
fight night.
Like, in the shtick.
I saw the podcast. I just listened to someone on a podcast. Even when Volk was coming out, like, Ilya's walking and he looks like a madman. Volk is coming out smiling at everyone, looking up at everyone. It was a big
making
thing.
jokes. Yeah.
Just distracted. Yeah.
Talking about a man who's not going to be smiling on fight night. One of my absolute favorites, an absolute killer in his own right. In the co-main event of Gamebred Bareknuckle, Orlando, live at the Kia Center, the Vanilla Gorilla, Chase Sherman, to the show.
What's up, man? Sorry for the delay.
Oh, no worries, brother. No worries.
Why won't I be smiling on fight night, man?
No.
Hot take.
I know what you mean.
I thought like Volkanovski was being too go-lucky, too funny with it. Like, you tell me. You've been in there plenty of times with killers, and what do you think about that?
It's just one of those. It just depends on kind of what your mental framework is going into the fight. Like, sometimes, like, to ease the nerves and anxiety, you try to, make it more of a lighthearted kind of like, this is a sporting event. You know what I mean? Try to take the pressure and the edge off a little bit, and go out there and quote unquote have fun. You see a lot of fighters that try to do that. Cowboy Cerrone was one of them that was really trying to be like super overly friendly. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Sam Alvey, a lot of those types of cats. I think it takes the edge off. And then sometimes, those guys to deal with the nerves, they go the other way with it. You know what I mean? And I've been in fights where it's like kind of both the situations. You just kind of go with what you're feeling, I guess. I don't know.
That's fair.
Okay.
I think it can be mentally exhausting too to try and be the tough guy for 48 hours, 72 hours, like to be so dialed in before the fight. Like it's mentally and physically exhausting sometimes. So I get that. I get that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're just fighting emotions and you're trying to
Right.
change the narrative and stuff
Right.
like that. That's yeah, that is exhausting. It is really exhausting. That's why I kind of like now I've particularly trying to just, instead of trying to control and change whatever I'm feeling, I just kind of use it and go with it. Why fight it? Because it's there for a reason. You know what I mean? Why try, change it?
Chase, we just had Alan on 15, 20 minutes ago, of course, talking about him and his main event with Junior Dos Santos. And then, of course, you came up organically, won in the co-main event. Alex even talked about your fight with Nicholson around 10 years ago, almost literally 10 years ago at Island Fights and all that nature. Have you thought of all of that fight? Is it you guys are two totally different men? Alex doesn't even look the same. Can you bring anything from that fight at Island Fights to this one in the co-main event March 2nd at Gamebred?
Man, I mean, that was his moment, and I don't, he won the fight. I don't really have any, excuses. That was 10 years ago. And I'm cool with Alex. Like, we supported each other throughout our careers, and I respect him. I feel like he respects me. And we understand that this is business, and we have an opportunity to really go out there and put on a hell of a show, and let these fans know, who exactly we are and what type of fighters we are. Because I feel like we're part of a dying breed, and of these anywhere, anyone, anytime kind of fighters. These fighters. These guys that rather go out on their shield than get a pointed out decision or something like that. And so it's kind of a match made in heaven, and it sucks in a way that because we're friends and we're going to go out there and we're going to hurt each other. But I think at the end of it, it's going to be all right. It's going to be cool. So it's just whoever wins.
It's all going to be okay.
Yeah. So it's weird. I've never had to, experience with this situation like this. Like, I've tried to always kind of avoid fighting, people I'm cool with or friends with, because, it's personal for me, like it's a very personal, fighting is a very personal thing. It's a very intimate kind of like serious thing,
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me to kind of have to perform at the level that I need to, I have to flip a switch and really want to fucking hurt somebody. And it sucks because, you're fighting a friend, but I know at the same time, he's going to fucking try to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to try to hurt me. And when you don't have gloves on, man, it's very primal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something about it that's just, at least for me, it's just something about it that's just like,
it's like back in the day, like gladiators, there's just something so like just so epic about it. And you mentioned how you guys are friends and you're gonna have to flip that switch. So how do you plan on shutting off that part of your brain where it's like, I'm cool with this guy, but business is business? Like, how are we going to shut that part of the brain off?
Well, that's the thing, is like, you have to practice it, what I mean?
Right.
You have to really, and that's one thing I've realized too, is like training the mind and the mental aspect of the game. You have to really be intentional with that, and you can't just, I don't know. It's just like, you have to find that place, and you have to really just kind of bring it out and let that other, like Chase Sherman is dead whenever he walks into that cage. Is no longer Chase Sherman. It's something very different. And so, yeah, I'm learning how to really kind of tap into that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry,
I was gonna say, Elle, I want you to take the next one if you have one. But I was gonna say, Chase, after the fight, if you and I are doing some talking after the fight because you had a win, can you not try to steal the mic from me? Can you not try to walk me around the cage? You could have just lifted me up and threw me out of that mother anytime you wanted to.
It was because I still had a lot left in me, man. I didn't get to get out, all those demons. You know what I mean? In that fight, I was that fight was like what I was just talking about. Was one of those moments that like I was in there, man. And life was really kind of handing me the business. You know what I mean? It was like it was trying to. There was things in my life, in my personal life, that was going on weeks or throughout that whole camp, really leading up to that. And it just felt like I was just really I just felt like I was being really disrespected, and like nobody fucking gave a shit about like me as a fighter, and I wasn't even getting like any like no like I felt like I wasn't getting the respect that I deserved, just in my personal life, in my professional life, whatever.
Yeah.
Gym, whatever. And so like that whole camp, well, the end of that camp, I just started doing some guided meditation on like transforming anger and really like focusing on those emotions instead of like and feeling them, you know what I mean? Instead of trying to control them and change them, and just stuffing it in my back pocket for when I need it.
Right.
And I was in the back
of
the
that thing out. You let that thing out.
Yeah, I had a lot left, and I was like, man, I was like, I still wanted to fight even after walking into the back.
Shit, he was about to fight Dave. It was awesome.
I was
like, and I went, and it just boom. I flipped it on right before I made the walk because I was still dealing with the nerves and the anxiety. And then I heard him say on the cat that I was fighting, I heard him say on the little thing that came up on the screen, when they do the interviews before we walk out and stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to kick my ass, I was like, that's it.
There it is.
Switch. And so it's just very intentional, you know what I mean? It's just a direct focus instead of it just overwhelming you, these emotions and these feelings, learning to feel them and then and use that and cultivate that because it's a power, you know what I mean? It's energy. It's everything.
Oh, I feel that.
Are you? So you're talking about flipping a switch, like fighting demons, and you were also talking about a fighter's fighter. And I believe that this card is absolutely full of those matchups. There's so many amazing fights on this card. So my question is, are you the kind of guy that has to be dialed in? It's all about me in the back, or are you the kind of guy who's sitting in the back, enjoying those fights that come before yours and like just soaking up that moment and that energy?
No, I'm just trying to, when I'm in the back, I'm really not even watching the other fights, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of going through my routine and, probably start off with usually like with some breath work and just some meditating and just kind of like really get focused in on the moment. And because when you're about to fight or when you're at the show, like you're kind of not, you got to really get back into your body because you're so, your emotions are so everywhere. It's almost like you're detached from reality. It's like, you don't, you know what I mean? And Dean Tool just texted me and said he misses me. He knows I'm on the show. That's the only reason he said it.
I know. he just messaged me like 8 minutes ago. It was we deal with it.
Easy to say something like, don't say anything stupid.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm just trying to get, back into, I don't know why I keep snapping my fingers. Trying to get back into just into reality, into the moment, and just slowly, progressively make myself more aware of what's about to go down. And then start hitting pads after we get the hands wrapped and moving. And 2-3 fights out is usually when we start, really start breaking a sweat and getting moving, because I can't sit still anyways. And movement, it movement in the body, it helps alleviate anxiety and all these other things. So like moving, obviously, it helps. So that's kind of my routine. And then before we go out, we'll say we'll bring the team in, say a quick prayer, and then get ready to go do business.
I love that.
I had one more for you, Chase, but then Dean just wrote, he goes, what's up with that one time in the van?
I'll
keep it moving.
We're not talking about it.
Oh God.
Oh man,
That was a long time ago.
That sounds like it's for the off-air
we
show.
had
I'm here for it.
Yeah, back island fights, man. It was like after. I mean, this was back around when I fought Alex, and even before then. He had a big like company, white van, and after the fights, we'd go out in it, and things happened, and it's not really appropriate.
All right.
We had some good times. We had some good times in there.
We'll leave it at that.
That's the first time I met Masvidal as well.
Okay.
Was
Okay.
in the van.
Well,
yeah.
there you go. There you
Not
go.
in a weird way, but yeah.
This is great.
But Jace, my thing for you is in Biloxi, some fighters, of course, stole the show, but then your boy stole the show. Your boy was amazing at weigh-ins and everything you did, even after the fight. It was awesome to see you guys, have that moment together. Is it planned? Are your boys coming to Orlando? I know it's school year and everything of that nature, but are you guys, is the family making the trip? Are they coming down to the Disneyland? Are they coming down to Orlando?
No. I wish,
Okay.
but no, they ain't gonna be able to make it.
Okay.
Yep.
Damn. Yeah, that your son was probably my favorite part of the whole press conference weigh-in. That was so great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, I definitely didn't have Chase Sherman being into self-guided meditation on my 2024 bingo card, but that's really, really cool that you are into that. I love that you're so real about trying to get back into your body and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just spoke to your friend Alan Belcher before this, and he was giving you plenty of accolades. How does it feel to have somebody like Alan being in your corner?
Oh, it's great. I mean, he's been my friend since, and just one of my mentors, and just a good influence on my life. And we've known each other since I was like 16, man. I was before he even got in the UFC, and I was working at this little gym. I was working at it was Pro Gym. It was like a weightlifting gym. I was working behind the front desk, and he had asked if he didn't know me from Adam. I didn't really know. I mean, I just knew he was a fighter. You know what I mean? Right. At this time, I wasn't even in, like, the only fighting I wanted to do was in the streets. I was playing football and stuff like that. And so, but he had asked me to go outside if I wanted to run wind sprints with him in the parking lot. And I was like, yeah. And we met, and and then, after I got done playing college football, I moved back down to South Mississippi and started training, doing MMA, and I was at just a different gym than his, and he had reached out and called me and was like, hey, come train with me. And I was like, all right, cool. So, he taught me how to fight.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Chase, what position did you play in football, college football?
I was offensive lineman.
Offensive lineman?
Yep,
nice.
Yep.
Same.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah. There you go.
Maddie,
but yeah. So the mental is really what I've dove into the last 3 or 4 years. And I think that's just a real key element that we're, as athletes, fighters, people in general, that we're aware of. We all know we have to have our head in the game, or get our mind right, or what we'll say all these things. But most people just think that that's something that just comes naturally. You're supposed to have that's not how it works at all.
Right.
We don't separate the body from the mind. It's just like anything else. You have to train it, and you have to really hammer that shit in there, and you have to open all these new neural pathways, and you have to do all the shit that that we don't even know that we're supposed to do. That helps. And I think that's just it's an aspect of martial arts was lost for so long, and I think it's just a missing element. And now that I'm bringing that into my career, I feel like it's going to have a really big impact on my professional life and my personal life. So
love it.
And like and I've said this before too. I've told Alan this. I've told other people. I was like, I'm not concerned about being the best fighter in the world. I'm not concerned about the outcome of this fight. Only thing I'm concerned with is not really even what I'm doing, is who I'm becoming. How can I become the best, most optimal version of myself? You know what I mean? In every aspect. And the fighting and all that's going to take care of itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that just comes with it. Like martial arts is a lifestyle.
Hell yeah.
That's for sure. That's for sure. We're
Yeah.
excited to see the Optimus Prime version of Chase Sherman March 2nd, around 12, 13 days from now in Orlando, Florida at the Kia Center. Chase, man, appreciate you coming on. Any last words? Anything else you want to get off the chest? Man, cannot wait for this fight. Cannot wait.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think people understand the magnitude of what's going to transpire. I feel like there's going to be this is going to be an event that really catapults the sport. And
Let's go.
And I feel like it's going to be a special night. And if you're anywhere near Orlando, you need to be there.
Hey,
So,
I'll be there, and if we talk after the fight, I'll give you the microphone. All right, my man. I'll give it to you, all right?
Hey, you'll know if you know. Like, hey, remember that? I still feel bad about the commissioner coming in there. I just ripped his little head off, man. He came in there.
I know, man.
He was like, "Hey, man, you need to stop cursing." I was like, "Motherfucker!" Like, I'm like, I just got done with a fist fight. Like, my adrenaline is still up here, man. Like, you don't come in here right now. Like,
I know.
It's not the time.
Y'all need like a code word.
See how I was like
safe word.
Yeah. Y'all need a code word of like, okay, banana.
You can't ask these dudes to be coming in here and being savage fucking animals and fighting for 15 minutes with no gloves on, and then expect us to be
to swear.
Cordial gentlemen whenever,
right.
You know what I mean? Give me a break, bro. Like, give me a second to breathe. Emotions in check. But all right, y'all be easy, and I'll see y'all in Orlando.
Sounds good, man. I'll see you next week, Chase. Later, brother.
Thanks, Chase.
Chase Sherman.
What a cool guy. Love that man. I just learned so much about him. Oh my God. I know. Like, you expect them to just like be hard asses all the time, and then they're like, oh, there's like a method to the madness. I love it.
Chase and Alan both talked about meditating more than fighting. It was bingo card 2024. Anything can happen. Michael Chandler's calling out Conor McGregor on WWE Raw. It's crazy times right now. Crazy times. Wow.
Well, that's what's going to happen for Conor McGregor. Like that. I don't think we see him in the octagon again.
Yeah. I don't know.
Are you I do. Or you got to run?
I do have to bow out. I'm going to make way for the lovely Gillian Robertson.
Oh wait, Gillian Robertson's coming on?
I think so. I think she's coming.
Savage time.
I believe it's Savage Hour. If I'm not mistaken.
It is Savage time here at the Fight Banana Show.
I love it. I'll make way for you guys. Have a great rest of the show. I'll see you soon.
Later, Maddie.
Bye.
Bye.
What's up, G?
What is up, guys? How are you guys feeling?
Good, man. This has been a good show. We we're dealing with some good characters. I've had some hot takes, G, already on UFC 298 and a lot of stuff. But before we get into Ilia Topuria, UFC Mexico, we haven't even brought up at all this weekend. Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez and Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval. We'll get into that. I want to talk about how great was that giveaway, G. Like, that was, people were into it. And we got a winner. We already mailed out the shirt. That person's going to get this shirt today or tomorrow. He's loving life right now. I think we did our thing.
Oh yeah, it was an absolutely awesome giveaway. And I was scrolling through it. I think we had like a handful of right answers.
It was three. It was three.
Everybody picked Volk, huh?
Yeah, everybody picked Volk. So I'm like, there was just a small amount, and there was even somewhere I'm like, okay, they got the Volk, they got the Whitaker, and then they put the Cejudo. They missed the Marab. But yeah, like you said, only 3 that picked it right. So slim pickings, but we were able to pick our winner, and we had a lot of entries.
Yeah, we did. It was that was easily the best giveaway Fight Bananas has ever been a part of. So we're so pumped. We're going to do that again. We would love to do it with you, of course, again, G, but I think there's actually 2-3 more fighters that hit us up. They saw your giveaway, and they're like, hey, we want to be involved. So I think we got a fighter for UFC 299. We got a fighter for UFC 300. So it's like, dang, okay, we might have to charge to do a giveaway pretty soon. I'm loving life. I like it. So people are definitely loving the Savage, like always here in Fight Bananas. First question, let's get right into it. Ilya Topuria knocks out Volkanovski second round, looked amazing. What was your first take on it?
I guess I'm debating still on if it was Volk not in his right mind because of Islam, or if Ilya was able to take Volk out of his usual game, because it didn't look like the regular Volk out there. And I think it may have done with the leg kick early. I feel like Volk was probably prepared more for Ilya's boxing, and then when he came out with that leg kick hard early and was able to damage him, it kind of maybe threw Volk off his game a little bit. He had to switch his stance and maybe had to approach the fight different, or I don't know, just defensively, he looked off. And that's why it threw into my mind the whole Islam thing, because the whole time, and even Dean said it in the commentary, he was just backing straight up with his chin straight up in the air. And I don't think I've ever seen Volk do that before.
You being in so many fights in the UFC, holding UFC records, what is it like when you kind of are going to a fight and you have a game plan of what she is going to do to you? If they're going to wrestle you or try to box you, or they're going to try to take you down, and you have a little bit of a game plan, but then they just switch it up, right? The grappler starts striking. Maybe the striker starts trying to wrestle you. What is it like in the heat of the moment? It's like, whoa, I did not think this was going to happen, but it's happening. How hard is it to change kind of what you were game planning going in there?
All right, even like when I fought Macy Barber, the whole camp, she was, like all of her other fights, she was southpaw. She came out on me orthodox. So It's like, now I was drilling southpaw shots my whole camp, and now I have to readjust in the moment for orthodox. So it definitely makes that's what makes a champion is those in-fight readjustments, I really think. And it's even harder when there's actual damage behind it. So when Tyler Santos split my nose, then now you're thinking about that the rest of the fight. Or when Volk got these leg kicks that were obviously damaging early in the fight, it's like it's now in his mind, and it definitely played a part in the fight.
For sure. Elle, you got something on 298?
Yeah, I felt like Volk was making the right adjustments personally. Like, I thought he was building some momentum, but I did notice like the way he was backing up. And I don't know if it was maybe just the concern of Ilya's power, because obviously we've all seen that on display. But how did you have the fight scored leading up to the knockout? Obviously, we didn't get to see too much, but I wanted your take on that.
I definitely give the first round to Ilya. Second round, I think it was going a little bit more Volk's direction, but obviously Ilya was able to find his moment. But first round, I gave to Ilya.
Absolutely. Okay. I have a fun UFC 300 take. Right after the fight was over, literally maybe a minute and a half afterwards, Dana White finally announced the main event for UFC 300, Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. And we've been hearing ups and downs, and I think I have a take. I have a good analogy to both of you, and I want to know what you think about it. You guys ready? Of course, my analogy always has kids involved because that's me, right? So if my analogy is this, if on today's Tuesday, and if my son Dylan comes home and there's like 3 new small Lego sets there, and we didn't tell him any Lego sets were going to be there, he would be the happiest kid in the world, right? Like, he would be like, oh my goodness, Lego sets. But if he, on Christmas morning, after going to go see Santa, after making his list, checking it twice, doing everything for Christmas, going to all the monthly things we have to do in December, if he only got 3 little Lego sets Christmas morning, he would not be happy. And my point is, Dana White, like, months ago, blew his, like, this is going to be the greatest card ever. Guys, I'm working on super fights. Hey, guys, I'm working on the biggest main event you're ever. Like, he has came out and said this on podcasts, shows, little stuff. He's already announced a lot of good fights. He's like, guys, wait, I got more. Like, I got more. He kept on leading this on that we were going to get something epic, insane, and everyone has ran with it. Jamal Hill and Alex Pereira is awesome, but that could main event 299, 301, 302. It's nothing over the top. And then the super fight, it's kind of funny. It's saying that Kayla Harrison was the super fight with Holly Holm. They still have it on a prelim. That's not super if it's not on the prelim. They're acting like it's not super, so why should we act like it's super? My point is, I think Dana White overpromised for UFC 300 in a weird way, under-delivered. What do you guys think?
So you're saying that he promised us an Xbox and gave us a Lego set, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes. Look at that.
I feel like
it's such a good card. The card's amazing, but it's just he amped it up so much, like no one was going to be happy with it over, like with the card set.
I feel like the card is that like it is great from top to bottom, except for that main event. I'm like,
okay.
I think it is the Xbox besides the main event. That's the only
agree.
part I'm not happy about. I'm like, I was literally just looking at it right before I hopped on here. Every single fight from the first one on the prelim to the co-main event are absolute bangers. And not to say the main event isn't a banger, it's just not a UFC 300 main event.
Exactly. Dude, Grant and I watched the way they announced that Brock Lesnar was coming back for UFC 200. Like, do you remember that trailer?
So cool.
How just insane that was. And then in the arena just going absolutely nuts. Like we got
Joe Rogan. Is this real? Is this real? Like Joe Rogan was
like, all right, I'm on my phone. Okay, UFC 300. Bye. Like, it was so lackluster compared to what we were expecting. I agree. Like, it's not a bad fight. It's not the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even at that's such a great point, Elle. If they had Alex Pereira like in the gym, and like with Rocky, like he crumples up the paper of Drago. If Alex Pereira had like a paper of Izzy, crumpled it. Had a paper of Yuri, crumpled it. Had a paper even of Aspinall and like crumpled it. And, like all these like guys he beat or is maybe
throws a dart.
And then like Jamal Hill, like dude, he was a champion. He never lost a championship. He got hurt. So like there's a little bit of like this is a really cool fight. But like for Dana White, not even in the war room, he's like, hey guys, I'm in Anaheim. This is the main event. See ya. It's like no, like I think it came together that quick. I don't think they had time to do a really cool. Alex Pereira like that. I know it sounds wild. That maybe would have put it over the top as something as a 20-second video with Alex Pereira pushing it. Could have really pushed it.
Here's my hot take. It's not really a hot take. It's a hopefulness.
Hot take. Here we go. Hot take.
This is maybe they're all messing with us and this isn't the real main event. Maybe this is the co-main event, just like DC and Jones was like, we thought that was like the fight. And then at the end of at the very end of the clip, they see Brock Lesnar punching the screen. I don't think that's the case, but a girl can hope that maybe we're going to get some epic trailer. And I don't know, Connor's going to like do his like evil laugh at the end. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for more.
Okay. All right. I got a lot of stuff to talk to you about, G. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep you here for a while if you're fine with it. The first thing I saw your post earlier on IG, there's a lot of fighters in the UFC game. Like a lot of fighters fight. They're in this video game. It's a big thing. How is Gillian the Savage Robertson not in the game, G? What can we do? Can I make a call right now?
It came up because I'm not going to say who it was, but another fighter posted that they were in the game and he is currently cut from the UFC. And I'm like, how does this work?
How about that?
Exactly. So I'm trying over here. What does it take?
How many wins do you have in the UFC?
I don't know, probably about 9 or 10, I'm assuming. Around there. Yeah.
You know how hard it is to win in the UFC? Like how hard it is to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10 wins, multiple records? Like, come on, UFC. Come on. What are we doing here?
One day I'll get noticed.
You'd be an epic video game character too.
That's what I'm saying too.
The fit, like, yeah.
I'm like, just the pictures I posted on my Instagram there. I'm like, that's right there, the video game character. You guys don't even need to edit it. Just put it right in.
I love it. Also, okay, more fun stuff. We saw that maybe you had a little fun this weekend with a couple of your friends. Is there any stories that you can tell the world here in Fight Bananas land, some things that happened this weekend?
So the great Hannah Goldie came down, and she also brought her friend Amy Duke, who's a phenomenal Muay Thai girl.
Yeah,
I brought a couple girls out. We have Andrea Mensis with Combat Night, who's here for a month from Spain. So she came out, my main girl, Gloria, who's my main drilling partner. We all decided to have a little bit of a girls' night. We went out. My step count on my iPhone said we danced 9 miles that night.
Dance 9 miles.
So, yeah, it was definitely a lot. It was a long night. And then we woke up the next morning and we all fought each other. We sparred.
It sounds like the greatest 28 hours that you can do. That's life.
Like, that's a perfect girls' weekend, right?
Solid.
Nice. Do you, I kind of always thought we talked about this and you had the GOAT and stuff. and everything that Gloria does, I don't think there's any negatives of that at all. But do you wish there was maybe one or two more 125ers, 115, especially on the female side, that would be there just more often to drill on a Tuesday, drill on a Wednesday? Do you wish that there could be a couple more girls down there at GOAT?
It's always nice to have more bodies, definitely.
Okay.
Obviously, like you said, Gloria is my world. She is my everything. I could literally text her and be like, hey, do you want to drill at 2 a.m.? And she would text me back instantly. And so I'm like, anytime I need a training partner, she's always there for me. Oh, we've gotten a couple girls recently. We have Jade Moran with Combate as well. And then Andrea came to visit, who she might come to stay as well. Eileen Perez with the UFC, who's she's got a fight coming up in June against Jocelyn Edwards, which is big controversy fight there.
That's the one they fought each other at the PI. She punched Eileen, right?
Yeah, that's where Jocelyn confronted Eileen at the PI a week before she had to fight Lucy Pudlava. Punched her in the face. I think she fractured her orbital. She gave her a black eye going into her fight with Lucy.
Wow.
Right.
So now they have like the grudge match going on. So I believe that's on UFC 302. So that's an exciting one. So we've got a good little group of girls that we're starting to build a team. And of course, we got a good group of 125-pound boys too. So we got a good mix.
I love it. I love it. Guys, you know where UFC 302 is going to be at? I just kind of got some news yesterday.
I know. I'm not sure if it's public or not. I know because of Eileen.
So you're not saying it. So you're not doing anything wrong. I hear it's in New Jersey at the Prudential Center.
Jill's like,
that's not what I heard.
Dude, that's it. My birdie probably told me the wrong thing then. Because you're right, I'm wrong. I'm just gonna roll with that. All right.
I'll never forget Dave's Tom Aspinall is the main event of UFC 300.
I heard that too.
Moment.
And they wanted him to, Elle. No one wanted to fight him. They wanted Brock Lesnar. He's too busy doing videos with other men and females. So that was a whole thing. They wanted to. No heavyweight could fight him.
That moment, I'm going to clip that and be like,
I know. Yeah.
Just keep it on replay.
Yeah, kind of
you sliding off the screen dramatically.
It's a guy who he did a movie with Adam Sandler. He's like very, very sneaky. That was his line the whole movie. So funny. Anything else from UFC 298? I think all three of us absolutely loved Robert Whittaker. He got the job done. What'd you think of Ian Gary, Marab, anything else? Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Lemos fight. Holy shit, that fight was amazing. Anything else in UFC 298?
Marab was honestly the person I was impressed by the most. I feel like I became an even bigger fan of him that night. Just watching him, he completely just like dismantled Henry. He was just able to put on a complete performance and like own Henry at his own game. It was beautiful.
Oh yeah, I've never seen someone break Henry Cejudo. I didn't think that was possible. Like I feel like with Marab, once he gets momentum, you can't stop him. He's a steamroller. Like that was we were talking about who the show stealer was going to be, and none of us said Marab, and it totally should have been Marab.
Carrying him over to Zuck and everything, making a show out of it.
Oh, it's amazing to watch.
And like,
I watched that fight like 3 times. For
the first time, I even think even Dana said it afterwards. He's like, yeah, he's next. Like, I finally think that night was everything for him. There's just some certain nights that are more special than other wins. Not even just that he won, it's how he won. The moment with Zuck. Even him losing the first round was kind of cool. Like Dana was like, it's like Dana's a Marab guy now. Like it's just like that. Dana's a Marab guy now. And that means a lot. Like it's Dana White. He kind of does his own thing. So it is what it is.
I feel like everything about Marab too recently, these last couple like weeks, he's been like, or months even, he's been killing it on social media. He's been killing it in the cage. Like he's really coming into like his own, getting that star element.
Oh, he's hilarious on Instagram. Hilarious.
What up?
I said he's hilarious on Instagram. Like him running to the gas station and chugging gasoline. Like he killed me.
John Anik had the funniest line about him and like some of the people that were shooting the videos, but that's another thing. All right, guys, this weekend UFC Mexico City. A lot of good fights on the card, but that main and co-main event is absolutely amazing. Those are like pay-per-view level fights. Both of them could be main events of their own card. They put them together. I would love both of your guys' take. Let's start with you, G, then go to you, Elle. Let's go with Brian Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez as a co-main event. That's insane. And then with Royval versus Brandon Moreno, probably I would assume the winner fights for the UFC Flyweight Championship later on this summer. What do you think on both those fights?
Can I shout out one more? The featured bout is actually a guy from our gym, from Goat Shed. We got Francisco Prado, who I think he's 21 right now. He's, I think, 8-1 currently. So it's absolutely insane, just that in general. He's the featured bout on the main card, fighting, I can't remember his first name. His last name is Zellhuber. He's fighting a Mexican.
Oh, yeah, Zellhuber. Yeah, that guy's good. That's a great fight.
I feel like is going to be fight of the night, an absolute banger. Obviously, I got Francisco, but it's going to be a fire fight, 100%. I'm like, I feel like they're both there to scrap.
Real quick on Prado's a savage. I like that, Goose. They said is Prado, and I'm sorry for even asking this. Is he more of a grappler or more of a striker?
Yeah, he's more of a striker. His last fight he finished, I believe, was a spinning back elbow. It was his second UFC fight. And like I said, he's 21 years old. Kid's complete prodigy, like someone to look out for, you know?
Jeez, that's insane. That's insane.
And then
I like it.
Going into the co-main event, it's going to be great to see Brian Ortega back. One thing, I'm like, I feel like I don't remember the last time I watched him fight. It's been forever, years.
Was it Volk?
I have no idea, honestly.
Or was it the one that he hurt his shoulder at?
Oh, yeah, that must be it.
Against Yair. I think that was the last one.
Yeah, that was his last fight.
That was literally like 2 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. Like a lot.
And dealing with something else I've been hearing. Maybe his love life isn't what it used to be. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
I don't think that's going to be affected this fight, but I think
dude, that's all. That's everything. G. That's like 80% of it. Like I'm going with Yair Rodriguez. Like, come on, he's not with Tracy Cortez no more. I got Yair over.
Yair's just got such a wild style, and I don't know. It's honestly, it's going to be interesting to see Ortega after this long, coming off of, like you said, a bunch of injuries, and then it's like, what are we gonna? Even his last fight wasn't really a fight. Like it ended early, so I don't know what we're gonna see of that. I'm gonna side with Yair on this one.
Me too, for sure. How about you, Elle?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of hard to pick on this fight because we just don't know what Brian Ortega is going to bring to the table this time. Like if he comes back and is like solid, he could out wrestle Yair. We've seen Yair kind of try and like grapple off of his back. I could see Brian Ortega kind of mixing that in there, but I feel like Yair's one of those guys that's so tricky. He's so tricky, and he finds ways to land in with crazy combinations. I would lean Yair, but I'm not like that. Fight's a close one. I think Moreno, though, man, I think the only person that's beaten Moreno right now is Pantoja.
Okay. How about you, G?
I'm torn on that one, honestly.
Ooh, I like it.
Well, just like as a fan, I like them both a lot. I like both their styles a lot. It's like I want to see them both win.
Yeah.
I do think that Moreno's the more complete fighter. I do think he is going to be able to pull off the victory, but I'm a huge fan of both the guys. I'm like, ideally, it's a draw and they both win.
To me, it's so wild that so it was supposed to be Moreno versus Amir as the main event, and then T-City and Yair as the co. And then when Amir got pulled, like you would assume like you can't get as good as replacement usually sometimes on short notice like that, and you would assume like Ortega and Yair would almost become the main event, but like they slid Brandon Royval into that spot, and like they're like, Royval, like you deserve it too, that's a big fight for you, kept the main event. I'm really happy that I'm such a Brandon Moreno guy. He's such a stud and so fun to watch. I love that he's the main event of this card. And then he's like Royval is so awesome, so underrated. Like I love how that's the main event of this card. I love that fight. Such a good fight.
There's another banger on the card too, which is our guy Chris Duncan is fighting Manuel Torres.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys have ever seen either of those guys fight, but that's going to be a freaking firefight too. It's in Mexico City. Like, you have to have some tough Mexican boxers and some guys that are willing to stand and trade with those guys. Like, that's the only way to do Mexico City.
That's exactly.
You got Ruiz Jr., like that the young kid versus Ricky Torquez with the hair, the Ultimate Fighter guy. That's a banger of a fight. Card's insane. It's good.
Like Elle said, like, Mexican boxers just tough as anything, walking forward the whole time. You know you're gonna see a lot of that. And then there's also the element of it being in Mexico City, which, like, how many fighters are going out there early? Because I remember the last Mexico City card and seeing Cain Velasquez get gassed and being mind blown. So that's what I don't want to see on this card, and I'm praying that a lot of fighters are prepping for this properly.
Yeah, the altitude's just insane. And I know Chris went out there fairly early, and I agree with you. I hope a lot of the other fighters followed suit.
And sometimes that almost makes the fights more exciting because the guys or the girls know, they're like, holy shit, like, I'm running out of steam here. Like, there's only so much of the power left. Like, I'm going for it. Like, you're going to see some crazy second rounds. I think after the first round, we're going to be like, guys, I can't go another 10. I'll give you 5 minutes here of everything I got. I can't go 10. So I think a lot of second round TKOs in Mexico City is a little hot take you might hear tomorrow night on Bed and Bananas with Elle, myself, and Goose is on Bed and Bananas.
Also, the day before the UFC in Mexico City, Karate Combat will also be in Mexico City having their show.
Let's go. You know, someone that you are very close friends with, Gillian, DM me. They're like, hey, do you need me to pick you up for Karate Combat that night? I go, no, Dean, I'm not going to Mexico City. He's like, wait, you're not coming? You're not going to be here? I was like, Mexico City? Like, bro, like, I was 50-50 on Fort Lauderdale and I live 3 hours away. This is Mexico City. He's like, oh, all right. I'll see you next time then. Come on.
He's just assumes, I'll come get you.
Yeah, I'll come get you. I'm like, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. Crazy. I think we absolutely did it. Anything else? I had a real quick hot take on, I know there's Marab, and I know there's so many guys in the featherweight division, bantamweight division, in a weird way, and they should do the proper steps. I agree with that 99% of the time, but this one time, I would not be against if Sugar Sean gets through Cheeto, put Sugar Sean O'Malley, Ilia Topuria together, featherweight championship on the line. It would be like the biggest fight they can make. These two amazing young stars. You would create a megastar. The winner of that fight is maybe bigger, is the biggest name in the industry at that time. Do you like that at all, or you despise it?
I'm stuck in between, I guess.
Okay.
I kind of want to see him defend the belt a little bit more.
For
I'm
sure.
tired of people defending the belt once and then becoming a double champ. I'm like, own your division, then try to conquer something else. I'm like, I don't. That's the only thing about it. I agree with you, though, that it's a huge fight to make. So it's like, maybe it's a missed opportunity if they don't do it now, you know?
Right. And I guess that's my point. It's like, I don't ever remember two guys like this, like at the same time. There's usually one, at a time, and they become a star. Then there's another guy. Then like GSP and Anderson were both at the top, and they're like veteran stars. These are two like youth and young stars in the company, and I feel like if you put these two guys together, it's like you're creating a megastar, like right here tonight. And even, you never know, like even the loser could get a lot of credit. Imagine if they went 25 minutes. Like, imagine if a lot of people kind of don't have O'Malley as like that tough guy and that gritty guy. Imagine if he gets his ass kicked, but goes 25 minutes with Ilia, never gets knocked out, and just kind of like shows that other side of, just being a tough guy. It would be like, holy crap. Like, I love Mackenzie Dern more now than last week, and she lost. Like, I love her now more. Imagine if O'Malley did the same thing, got his butt kicked, but like was showing signs of pop in the 5th round. I think it would be big for O'Malley. I do, but crazy. We'll see.
And we don't have too many megastars right now. Like we were talking about this earlier. Like, we have Conor McGregor and John Jones, and neither of them are really fighting.
They don't fight.
Ronda Rousey.
Don't fight.
Yeah, we need those people.
The two biggest stars in the game are Gillian Robertson and Grant Dawson. Like,
let's go. You guys should be on 300. I don't know what they were thinking.
What I'm saying, we already talked about this. The red hair on the poster. Just come on, UFC.
That's amazing. Awesome. All right. We did it. Guys, if you missed the free giveaway of Gillian Robertson's shirt, you can go buy her merch right now at Gillian-Robertson.com. The Up in Smoke line. You got booty shorts, you got hoodies, you got a black shirt, you got a white shirt. You got some good stuff. I think that's the proper term, right? Booty shorts? Did I nail that?
No, that's the salesman I need right there.
There we go. Thank you. I'm here all day. G, I'm here all day. Elle, anything else? I know it's Grant's birthday. We wish him a happy birthday. Slide into those 30s, Mr. Grant Dawson, getting up there.
Yeah, we're getting old. I'm following suit in a few months. We'll be cracking the big 3-0 together this year.
Love it. Jill, I don't know if you know this yet, and we might have to maybe get something together. Elle Dawson is traveling up to Orlando. So next Saturday, Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA in Orlando at the Kia Center. Gee, there's a VIP invite for you. Maybe you and Hannah go. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see you. Elle's coming through. Maddie's coming through. We got like a Fight Bananas family retreat here happening next week in Orlando. I love it.
We'll carpool to Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. Family reunion.
I love it. All right, guys, we are out. We'll see you everyone next Tuesday. Again, UFC Mexico this Saturday, next Saturday in Orlando for Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA. G, have a good day. Elle, we'll see you later. See you next Tuesday.
Bye,